My wife works in PS 75. She's a payroll secretary. She sees things in her school every day. It's a special ed school, okay? And for a teacher to know that they could have a settlement and get away with something and then come back is atrocious. And that's something that should be eliminated immediately. That shouldn't even be something that should even be possible in our time, in any time, anywhere. Nobody should be putting their hands on our children. Nobody should be touching or talking bad or bullying our kids in school. And I'm telling you right now, the first day I'm in this office, that's one of the first things I want to do, because you want to know something? That needs to stop, and those teachers need to know that they cannot and will not be able to get away with this anymore, because hearing about it, and the fact that he settled, he's sitting home right now figuring out everything's A-okay. I settled is what makes me even more sick. So I say that we let the teachers know that when you go to school and you teach our children, you better damn well do a good job and you better respect them, because if it was one of their children, I want to know what they would do. So let's straighten out these laws, let's straighten out these teachers, and let's have respect for the students the same way we're supposed to have respect for the teachers.
Yes, gentleman over here.
Yes, where do you guys stand and where exactly are we with the photo ID registration for voting?
Yeah.
Well, what's the holdup as far as having us have a photo ID for voter
When you go
registration?
vote, to show photo ID?
Yes.
I'll be honest with you, that one I have to check on, but as far as how I feel about it, you know, you should have photo ID when you go to the voting booth. It eliminates voter fraud. So the bottom line is, when you go to the bank and you don't know your account number, what do they ask you for?
Right.
Photo ID.
Right.
Even if you have your card, I can't take a withdrawal if I don't show them photo ID. When you go sign in a building someplace with this security, what do they ask you for? Voter ID. So if you're going to vote for an elected official, why shouldn't you have voter ID? It's a logical thing, and it should be. You should need voter ID when you go into vote.
Yeah, again, I don't think there's a piece of legislation at this point that is moving, but I am for photo ID when you go vote. It's very simple. You know, true, when you go vote, the person who's been working at the polls for 100 years sort of knows you.
No.
But I think that they should have to show voter ID anyway. So yeah.
Once you introduce legislation then.
Yeah, what's the holdup?
You would get legislation.
You said hold on.
You believe in it, introduce legislation.
I'll recognize the questions, okay?
There you go.
Yeah, there was, yes, gentleman over here.
This is about stop and frisk. The word came up before, but I don't think you addressed it a little earlier. In relation to stop and frisk, we have a real problem here. We hear it on the news, and I just heard it since January 1st. Two things. That's when stop and frisk came in. Since January 1st, the murder rate has really gone up here. The violent crime has gone up. Some other crime, they talk about that, has gone down. Not this. It makes sense to have this. Have you stand up, Mr. Price?
There was actually, I think, 6 pieces of legislation that were introduced in the state to do it predominantly as a city issue. Watering down stop and frisk. I couldn't support any one of them. I don't support anything that reduces stop and frisk if used as a proper police tool. I do think it's a proper police tool. So I support stop and frisk.
Stop and frisk is something that the police should still be able to use today. Now, people will tell you that in certain areas, stop and frisk is used more than it is in other areas. But here's the beneficial answer to that question with respect to stop and frisk. Crime is colorblind. Crime is not black or white or Chinese or Italian. Crime is colorblind. Now, if there are areas that show more, that showed more instances of stop and frisk, it's because crime was higher in those areas. But to take stop and frisk away puts our police officers in harm's way every hour they're out on the beat. They need that tool because they're able to use their experience as police officers and their experience to know whether or not a crime is about to be committed, whether or not someone has a bulge in their pocket. And you know what? If they pull them to the side and they frisk them and they don't, guess what? They're free to go. They're not going to be detained if they're not committing a crime, or they don't have a weapon on them, or they don't have any drug paraphernalia or anything on them. So to take that away from the police is to tell the criminal, hey, guess what, officer? If I'm walking across the street and you think I got something on me, you can't touch me. And the mayor will let you not touch me either, because he don't believe in it, and the police commissioner doesn't believe in it. And when you have the mayor asking Al Sharpton if he believes in it, guess what he's going to say? No, I don't believe in it either. So if you ask me how I feel about stop and frisk, we should have stop and frisk, and I hope that we can get it back.
Okay, yes, gentleman over here.
Senator Addabbo, you rather matter-of-factly said that you are pro-choice. Could you tell us what you mean by being pro-choice and why you are pro-choice? And perhaps Mr. Conigliaro can tell his side of the issue as well.
I'm sure. Pro-choice, again, life of the mother at stake, life of the child at stake, for the most part. Again, you know, pro-choice, I don't know how else you want me to define it. You know, I'm not for late-term abortion. I'm not for the unnecessary abortion, not to be used as abortion as a birth control device. Rare, safe, and legal. You know, that's what we try to abide by.
That's what we've been hearing, but we see divorces
Safe and legal is a lot, opens up, it's very general. You have to divorce them.
You know, and here's my concern. If we were to ban abortion, unfortunately, we know it's going to happen. By regulating it, we can monitor it, we can make sure if a person chooses that we do it in a safe manner, we can educate about it. So my concern is basically that those who do choose that way, we have to obviously make sure it's safe.
How can abortion ever be safe? How can
We have to go. Next response.
Folks, life is precious. Now, I believe that if a woman doesn't want to have a child, she should use precautions before she does anything. I believe that if a woman didn't take those precautions at the time that she could have, that they consider the option of the people out there who would adopt a child. Now again, if a woman's life is in jeopardy and she's going to die, I understand what a woman, the reason what a woman would need to do. But if irresponsibility comes in, folks, then you open the floodgates for people to just openly do what they want to do without being responsible. And we have to think about that. And when we were talking earlier before about our future, this is what we need to teach our kids. We have to teach them to be responsible in that arena, folks. It's very important. Because if we don't, they're going to get the wrong message. And then what? The floodgates will open to the wrong idea. So we need to teach our kids the way we learn from God and our faith, that this is what we believe in. And I believe that the right to life is very important. And that's my faith, and that's what I believe in, and that's what I'm teaching my kids, and that's what I teach my students when I teach them in their class as well, in their CCB class, that we follow our Catholic faith. When people get older, and kids get older, they may make their own decisions, but if we as adults and parents can teach our kids, and teach the future, then we can change things. And that's how I feel on that topic.
Let's see, is there someone who didn't ask a question yet who wants to ask a question before we go to repeat? Oh, yes. We'll move back in.